Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? This is Cynthia with Guidance to a Good Heart. We are so thankful that you are here. Oh, are we on?
Yeah, you on. It's on.
We're thankful that you are here. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, everybody. See, like, this is me today. Even Evangelist has told me. Oh, I can tell. I can tell. Hi, Evangelist. How are you doing today? Can you hear me, Evangelist?
Okay, sorry. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hi, Evangelist. How are you today?
I'm good. No complaints.
You know, I feel like I haven't seen you since Saturday.
Since yesterday, day before yesterday, since Saturday in Richmond.
Right? Since Saturday in Richmond.
Yeah.
Right? So I am so thankful that we have these two amazing guests with us because I think DJ Nick has been waiting for a minute for this. Like he's been waiting. He's been waiting for a minute for this one. So yeah, I'm thankful.
See, we outnumbered today. We're outnunbered
today, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is okay. Look at him smiling. I can see. Look, people can't see what I see, but he's smiling in the background.
Girls still rule the world.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold just 1 minute.
People don't hear what I hear or see what I see, but that's okay.
Right.
I'm thankful. So, everybody, I am thankful to have these two amazing gentlemen here today. Thank you so much for both of you who are here. I am so thankful. And both I and Evangelist are glad that you are here at Guidance to a Good Heart, men survivors of domestic violence. So I'm going to let my co-host go ahead and introduce our first guest,
which is Mr. Tommy Dudley. Tommy is a 39-year-old two-time male survivor and advocate of domestic violence and parental alienation. He has been helping to spread awareness and educate since 2016. His motto is healing while helping others. Besides these two causes, he also advocates for scoliosis spinal fusion survivors. He believes in networking and standing alongside each other and bringing more awareness and stopping this epidemic. Welcome, Tommy Dudley.
Hello, how are you, Mr. Tommy Dudley? How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How about yourself?
Thank you so much. We're doing very well. Thank you for joining us today on this wonderful Monday. We are so glad that you are here for this amazing Men Survivors of Domestic Violence hashtag and domestic violence. So we are also glad to have our next introduction here, and I know that I am going. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I'm here. Mr. Troy R. Jones is a spiritual leader, a certified life coach, inspirational speaker, an author, a social advocate, and a domestic violence survivor. He is also the founder of 108 community organizations. He is a passion in his life to help others find happiness by identifying, acquiring, and maintaining healthy relationships. He believes that it is important that a person continually strives to become the best version of themselves. You know, Troy has over 25 years of experience working to help others to see and achieve their greatest potential. His experience as an instruction allowed him to see firsthand how important it is to nurture one's potential, even while facing hardships with their community and family structure. And he understands that at least 1 in 6 men have been sexually assaulted and abused. The social stigma and silence around this issue makes it difficult for males to come forward. His mission includes creating opportunities for transparent dialogue that he hopes will inspire men to seek the light instead of suffering alone the darkness. 108 community organizations offer communities various family-centered programs, a curriculum-based support by B6 men's support groups, and other resources that instill resilience to overcome life difficulties and trauma, promote growth, and strengthen communities. So we are so thankful for you to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
So, before we begin with both of you gentlemen, I am so thankful. I want to start off by asking both of you why this domestic violence initiative to reach out to others is so important to you. What happened in your lives for you to begin a conversation is helped you to bring about a discussion and for you to outreach to other men and to young men as well, because we have to start off to understand the discussion and to essentially bring out to be influencers, because you are men of influence. So what happened in your life that maybe began for you to say, I need to be men of influence? And, if you could give us a short little bio or a short little influence or a short little something that could tell us what happened in your life that maybe helped you to become a man of influence.
Okay. Tommy, would you like to go first?
Oh, no, you go ahead, Brother Troy.
Right. So listen, I'm going to try to make it as quick and sweet and short as possible. I decided to do it because women are crazy. Right. And I felt that someone needed to highlight the fact that they are off the chain sometime. And no, I'm kidding. It's not kind of. So what started for me is that I didn't know. I had no idea. Just like most men, the stereotypes, the social norms, happy wife, happy life, that kind of thing. Your woman is never wrong type thing. You're always the one that's messing up. If she's unhappy, it's your fault. I just lived a lifetime of that stuff. And so I was married. I was in a marriage. And when these things started happening, I had no idea. I truly had no idea. Maybe a little glimpse, like I knew that I didn't like it. I knew certain things were unfair. I knew that I was trying really hard not to make her upset and just kind of keep her happy. But it wasn't until my doctor told me I had less than a year to live. And that's when I realized that was a very silent killer. And no one knew. And so I had to reevaluate what was going on with me. And so stress will cause your body and your organs to shut down. Literally, it'll start manifesting certain things. And we wonder why men don't live extremely long. Part of the reason is because we withhold stress. There aren't many outlets. We feel that we can pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We feel like she's just tripping. Let me go grab a drink. Let me go run. Let me go work it off. You know what? I'll just ignore it. Next thing you know, you have this massive heart attack or a mild heart attack or a stroke, and no one's the wiser. So for me, I needed to acknowledge, why was I so stressed? And so that kind of led me to a support group, a divorce support group. And in that group, I realized I was still the odd man out. It was a lot of women. I don't want to talk bad about women, but I needed to talk bad about a woman. But when I women would get real defensive, and they would, without knowing this woman, they would still jump to her defense. The court system automatically assumed that I was the bad guy. So I'm left alone. I'm left thinking, what do I do? And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine. I said, I think I'm gonna start my own support group, for men to be able to just deal with this stuff, because I knew several men. If I would say 99% of my friends either had gone through it or were going through something similar in relationships. And so I figured we need a place where we can just talk and hash this out. So I hope that was short enough, not too much, but that's one of the reasons why, because I realized I had no place to go. And instead of wishing, I just created a place for me to go.
That's wonderful.
That was a smart thing to do.
Thank you. You're up, Tommy.
And Mr. Tommy, what inspired you to also do the same?
Well, like Brother Troy said, there was really no place for us to go. I didn't know anything about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I didn't really know I was in an abusive situation. I didn't know our color was purple. I didn't know about the ribbons. I didn't know anything. Yeah. I'd been abused twice by two different women in two separate states. And I've dealt with parental alienation, where it has, caused me emotional abuse, psychological abuse. I've dealt with verbal abuse, not being able to see my daughters, but yet and still having to pay child support, being threatened by the court systems, being threatened by judges, being held in contempt, having to deal with the police officers. So that's not a safe haven. So actually what opened my eyes, I was working at the airline in the airport in Dallas, and I was working a Make-A-Wish flight. And this young man comes up to my ticket counter, him and his family, they make a wish. He had just met Stan Lee in person in Dallas. So that was his wish. He had an organization called Jacob's Heart Story. I had no idea about it. So I said, I want to follow you. He was 14 years old at the time. And he was out advocating for CHD heart awareness. He has a coercion of his heart where he has like a hole in it, and he has some issues with that. So, they don't expect him to, live that long. So, like I said, he was 14 on the Make-A-Wish flight. And I reached out to him and his mom, Jacob and Janet's Burrs up in Eugene, Oregon. I said, I've been in abusive relationships. I said, I want to advocate for men. Jacob at 14 years old, that brave to step out here and do what he's doing. I said, why can't I be a man and come out here and speak my piece and speak on behalf of other men? I have scoliosis, I have spinal fusion, I have things to say that can help somebody else come out and say what needs to be said. So him and his mom gave me the okay. They were like, we stand behind you. We believe you. We so proud of you. So 2016, I started talking. And from then on, I faced ridicule, from survivor sisters. I faced ridicule from young ladies, just like Brother Troy said, even from telling my homeboys and from telling people I went to school with. But yet and still, the strength that he had to do that at 14 let me know me at 39, I need to say something. So that was my inspiration behind coming forward and making sure that men had a place to say, hey, we dealing with it too. And we're not trying to take y'all limelight. What we trying to do is stand alongside you and tell you, we know what you're going through. We bleed like you bleed. We bruise like you bruise. We get cut like you get cut, and we just need to stand and, like I said, deal with this epidemic.
And I'm glad that you're doing that, because I think that what women do not, or anybody doesn't seem to understand is, and I want to give a short statistic before we even go any further, because like Evangelist knows, and a lot of people know about me, is I'm a person of statistics. She knows this about me, and a lot of people know this about me. So what I want to say is that the APA has noted, and it's been reported also in the Domestic Violence Male Perspective, and also the APA, that about 2 in 5 of all victims of domestic violence are men. And contradicting the widespread impression is that women who are left battered and bruised, most reportedly, most of them have been male. And men assaulted by their partners are often ignored by police. and they see their attacker go free, and far fewer refuge to flee than women. And that's a case study that many, are marginalized. And so that case study has said that, many men are not viewed as a, domestic violence victim. It shows that men make up about 40% of domestic violence victims each year. And so, those figures do go up each year, but unfortunately, they suffer silently and they really don't get looked at, each year. And so, my information is, how can we within our society, really bring out, how can we open up this conversation within our society so that we can open up this line of communication within our men so that we can break the mold within other men. How can we do this? Because you guys are leaders in yourselves, right? So how can we break the mold? How can we break the ceiling and say, hey, men, we're leaders, but how can we do this? Because like I said, 40% are silence. And I'm sure that number is much higher, right, Evangelist? Mm-hmm. It's probably much higher.
It's probably way,
it's not probably
higher than that.
It is.
But Tommy said something that's key. And I think it starts with, and this goes for men and women. He said he has something to say. When you get to that point in place where you're like, okay, I've been through this, I've been healed, I need to share my story, and you start talking, that's what's going to get to the next point. And them being here today is a major step. I have gotten several messages inbox today about you all coming forward. So people are watching. People have been like waiting for this. One lady said, this is what we needed to hear. So people have been waiting for some men to step up. And it doesn't make you less of a man because you've been domestically abused. It does not. It doesn't change who you are, how you were born, or any of that stuff. It's something that happens the same as it happens to us women all the time. It happens to men too, but they just don't talk about it. Some are too macho, some their ego is in the way. But when you feel like what you have been through is going to help somebody else, you have to get to that place where you say, you know what? I don't care what they say about me. I don't care who's not going to believe me. I'm going to tell my side of the story, however many times I can tell it. They're going to keep hearing it until it continues to help people. And that's how I feel about it. You, of course, I was ashamed at first. I didn't want people to know I was abused and all that kind of stuff because it's nobody's business. But you know what? It is somebody's business because somebody needs to know when I was that single mother with 4 kids struggling and they're doing the same thing right now, you're going to be okay. You're going to come out of it. It may be hard, but you can come out of it. But you have to get to that place where you say, you know what? I love me. I love my kids. And this is not the life for me. You have to make a choice. You have to want it. You have to want better for yourself. The same way, Troy, you said you needed somewhere to go to talk. You created that environment. You created that. Tommy as well. He said he had something to say. So he did something to a place where he could start saying something. That's where it starts, right here where you two are.
Yes. If you want to join the show, you can call in at 1-855-493-6499. We ask that anybody who would like to call on in, please do not forget you can call the show at 1-855-493-6499. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to say that, thank you for bringing up that point. And the way we change it is, that's a loaded question, right? Because the way we change that is actually women have to change their perspective. And so my question to every woman that's watching, including the two that are here, how far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to question that girlfriend of yours that you know is doing wrong? How far are you willing to challenge her when you're not just with her man, with her children? Right? You guys have these dialogues. You hear it. The signs are there. How far are you willing to go to stop the joke when you guys are all out and she says something like, we call it shade. But you understand she's casting that little bit of shade to see how far it's going to go. And there's a lot of truth in a joke. Right. And so once we hear women stepping up, instead of saying, I don't even mess with women because women are crazy. That's why I don't have a lot of female friends, because I don't get down with that. I have more male friends than that. That's not helping, because the women that you are avoiding are the women that's out there abusing men. They're the women that's out there causing an issue. I need for you to be down with your girls, be down with your soldiers, and correct that behavior. Because if they're doing it to men, they're doing it to their child. They're trying to create some type of image for that little boy to live in because they themselves are lost. So they're hurt. They're carrying this. And then with men, it's easy to say we should be able to do it, but it's not that easy. Take it from two men that have gone through it. It's not, because even in the church, I sat at a sermon that was supposed to have been for people that were abused, and they had a guy up there and they had a woman up there that had abused men. Whenever the women were talking about being abused, you could hear a pin drop, and then you would hear like, oh my God. The woman that abused, when the man started talking, you could hear a little bit of murmuring. They didn't take it that serious. Right? When the woman talked about abusing the guy, even the pastor laughed. The congregation laughed. I was sitting in the audience. I went there contemplating on, I say anything. After I heard them laugh, why? Why would I say something? Exactly. So people can start laughing at me or start joking me or teasing, because we make light of it. We make light of it, but as soon as a man does it to a woman, it's not funny. So my question is, how far are you willing to go? They do social experiments all the time where the guy is out there, he grabbed the woman and people walk by. And they do a social experiment when the guy's getting jacked up and you hear he probably deserved it. He probably cheated on her. He probably. So my question is, women, when are you going to hold your women accountable? Because if we do it, we're going to get arrested. If we don't, we'll be called some names.
Yeah. And that's a video that I had done in the past. I had said, remember that your young, the men who we defend on these videos who are being domestically abused, remember they were one time or another, they were a young boy. Your young men who you were defending were one time a little boy. And so be thankful that one day, if you're making a video or if you're saying something about domestic violence to men or something of that nature, remember that if you are saying that, you are defending someone who at one time or another you're saying, man, I am thankful for this woman who is standing up for my nephew, for my, for my sons. I'm thankful that there is a woman out there who is at least standing up for my nephews, for my sons, for somebody. And I'm thankful that she is having a narrative to be able to stand up for him, because there's some women who will say, I won't stand up for a man or whatever. Not to say, because I have always said this before, that's not to say that there are some men who do need help and there is mental abuse. Yes. But that is not to say that there are some men who desperately need help. There's desperation out there, just like I said, 40+%. And if you don't stand up for them, then there's no one that's going to stand up for them, No one will stand up for them. And, be thankful if you're not sitting here going, I have to have the influence enough to make a video and say, or put a tweet out there, put an Instagram. You'll have enough to make a whole bunch of pictures and say, And you could take a whole bunch of videos and a whole bunch of pictures, but you can't put one tweet out there for a man and say, you know what, there's men that are 40% who are being abused. You can't do that for somebody who might be, you know, I have to stand up for young men out there who are being abused. I'm sorry, there one day will go into a relationship that one day will harm their lives. And, you know, there's been men who have been killed because they thought they were with a crazy woman. And that crazy woman was actually abusing them. It was not crazy, it was abuse. If we thought that of a man to a woman, it was abuse. But if we thought that of a woman to a man, they say it was crazy. No, it was abuse. Now, if the roles were reversed, they would say, oh, she was just a crazy woman who had psychopathic tendencies. No, it was abuse always to begin with. And it turned into death, and it turned into, you know, murder 1, murder 2. Sorry. We have to start using verbiage properly, because we need to make sure that we are utilizing the proper verbiage for both men and women. We have to defend both genders.
Right.
You know,
and as Troy said, I'm willing, I am and would be willing to say something to the woman as well as the man, because I don't look at it one-sided. I have 3 sons, and 2 of my sons have been domestically abused by their children's mother. So I don't take it lightly. I don't take sides because I'm a woman and it's happened to me. I don't take it lightly like that. Like I try to, but it also goes back to education. Just like you said, if you see the woman with a 5 or 6 year old little boy and he's punching on his sister, no, you stop that, because that's telling him at that young age. And even though they may be playing and stuff, they don't have to play like that. We have to teach them that it's not okay to put your hands on your sister or any other girl like that. There's other ways you can play. But see, when you allow certain things, like I don't care for guns. I don't care if it's a water gun, if it's a gun that has candy in it. I don't want it in my house, around me, playing with it or whatever, because to me, it's still a gun. They're still saying, well, you can't have a big gun, but you can have this little gun, and that's okay. See, we sending a mixed message. So we have to stop, or they've been taught if the little boy's hitting on the little girl while they're on the playground, that's because she likes him. So in this little girl's mind, if when she meet boys, if they're not hitting on her, they don't like her. So she's expecting to be hit. She's looking for that. That's going to tell her that he's paying her some attention, which is totally wrong.
Evangelist, you're absolutely right. But some of the things that men get at a little age is that, right, little girls hear that. But what little boys hear is, if you get hit, you better not hit her. But they never teach us how to defend from that. Right. Most men know how to defend themselves physically, but not emotionally.
Right.
So we get our butt whipped in the real world because we don't know. When a little boy hear his mother chastising his father or correcting his father all the time, or putting him down, or saying things, you know, your father don't know what he's talking about, or just little things that we take for granted, understand she's planting a seed that as a guy, you don't really know how to lead a family. You need a woman to help you and structure you. And that's not true. So when you don't save men, you lose your family, you lose your community, you lose that protection that you so desperately want.
I agree with you 100%.
I agree.
It has to be taught on both sides. It's not
Absolutely.
one-sided. It's not one-sided. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
And I agree. And you know, and let's segue into something. You know, how do we start? You know, because you know, you were talking about, you know, being able to be responsible to help to correct a teaching program, or teaching our men, or teaching our young men or our boys, to help them. So how do we do a mentorship program or an education program or something in which it will educate our young boys or our kids or even our young girls too? Because sometimes even educating our girls, even combination with our boys, so that they can understand that, respect can go both ways. So how to start a mentorship program that way, respect and being an influence to understand this is because we already know my body is my body, but how do we start a mentorship program to influence and create an atmosphere, of that?
I'm gonna get out of the ring and tag my main man Tommy in. Go ahead, Tommy. You got
Thank you,
it.
Tommy. Thank you, Tommy. Yes.
Hey, I feel like as far as educating, I think it needs to be part of the curriculum in schools. Something needs to be taught as far as like teen dating, violence. They need to have a class the same way when I was in fifth grade, they came out with the sex education class. They need to get us all in there, talk about, I know it's a cliche. They say, keep your hands to yourself, but it's the truth. Yeah. Boys need to keep their hands to themselves as much as girls need to keep their hands to themselves. It shouldn't be a bias there. It shouldn't be that stigma. So make sure that you get in there, educate them on that and what's going on in life, because they're going through these different steps of life. They might be seeing it at home as well, like I saw when I was growing up. So let us know what our avenues are. Let us know what it looks like. Like I said, get that curriculum going in the schools. After school programs, the community centers, what have you, so that, these young people can be educated on what it looks like from a child as well as up to an adult. So once they see them red flags or they see it going on with someone else, they know what to do. They know how to communicate that. The young men know how to say, I can get help, just like the women can say, I can get help, or they can help each other. That's my whole thing. We need to come together as one, because we're not too much different. You're a woman, I'm a man, but at the same time, we all hurt, we all feel the same, we all bleed the same way. So just educate together.
Yeah.
You hurting them, Tommy. You hurting them.
Hey, Troy, you
that's
the
good.
ringmaster, man.
That's good. Look, right now.
And Tommy, I agree, man. That and my men's support group, and so it's curriculum based. Right. So we're not just sitting there. We can vent, when the guys come, it's done virtually now. But when the guys come in, I don't ask them what they do for a living because I don't care. Barack Obama and Donald Trump can show up. I don't care. Exactly. I want to talk to you like a man and treat you like a man. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, because I truly know, it's not even a belief. I know that if we save the men, we save everything else. We're going to save our women. We're going to save our marriages. We're going to save our children. We're going to save our community. Isolate them and keeping them out, and they're always the monster. We're not winning.
Turn it down.
So take the ball. The ball is in your court. Run with it. If you're a teacher, do what Tommy said. Go in your school and create a curriculum. They won't let you do it in the school. Do it after school. Let the parents sign up and get free classes. My church leaders, which, by the way, I was looking pastor elect in August, right? So, amen. But for all of my church leaders, have the classes in church. You just don't need to attend Bible study on Wednesdays or Saturdays or Sundays. You're in the community. Create the classes so they can come and learn. It's a safe environment, and you can do it for free. Isn't that what we fast for? Isn't that what God says, to break the yoke off of the necks? Isn't that a yoke? Isn't domestic violence?
Come on.
Something that's on your shoulders that's causing us to be controlled, right? And so if we're going to do the work of the Lord, then we need to go ahead and break it. Pastors, ministers, deacons, elders, get in there. Okay, say the church won't let you do it. You have a home, you go outside, you got a street corner, you got a car. Okay, no reason why you can't have a voice to go ahead and start educating these young people. I don't care if it's just one person. If it's just one person, talk to that person as if you got a million people in your congregation and get the work done.
I always say, if it's one.
Because then
when that one go to one, that's two. and so
right.
on and so on.
That's right. That's
but
right.
but that's where we have to start. We have to
Yes,
start by saying something. That's
That's right.
that's the first step. That's the first step.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Yeah. And that's good because, sometimes I feel like, we can't, these are things that we keep out of the church walls. And these are things that we feel that we cannot discuss within our church community. And sometimes it's very kept hush hush, within our church construct, because of our biblical, principles.
Right. Everyone's afraid the pastor's going to say, get a divorce. And everyone's afraid the pastor's going to say, stay with that man or stay with that woman, because no one really knows how to address it. When the truth is, God wants you to love them. It doesn't matter. There's 3 in that relationship. You don't have to tell them to stay together. You don't have to tell them divorce. You have to give them sound information so they can make a discerning decision for themselves. And whatever decision they make, we shouldn't judge them. They should still be in a place where they can be loved and mentored, because I don't care what type of sin you're committing or what type of cruelty you've done. Our God will forgive you if you repent. So I don't care if you got divorced 5 different times. If you're on this side of the ground, God will allow you to repent. So churches, get the thought out of your head and start serving the people. Even if you don't go to church, I don't care. If you have a heart of decency, help. Just help. Give men a safe place. Stop teasing them. Stop laughing at them. Just listen to them. And if you don't hear what they're saying, look at the actions. Does dude stay at work too long? Never really want to come home. Is he drinking? Is he getting into extreme sports or extreme activities? Does he seem depressed? Does he just not laugh a lot? Does he not seem like himself? Is he always saying things like, man, she just, every time I turn around, those are triggers. Those are flags. Investigate a little more.
Yeah, and that's good. And do you feel that if there's an unbalance too? Because I love bringing mental health into it, and I know, Doctor,
Absolutely.
that you have a good perspective. Both of you men, you have a good, sound perspective on mental health. That, of course, there is a good balance on women receiving good mental health, but I also feel like sometimes there could be a huge imbalance on men receiving good mental health. Especially when they might be dealing with even the beginning stages of PTSD and anxiety, and maybe even through the end of the PTSD, because you remember, when we are facing domestic violence, there is trauma that can be faced of domestic violence. And when we're facing domestic violence, it's considered trauma faced PTSD due to domestic violence. And so do you feel that there is an unbalancedness because they don't see that as the same? Do you feel that that men don't receive the same care as women do?
Well, I know from even like looking up men's shelters for domestic violence. When you're in a situation and you're trying to get out, I found 2, one in Texas and one in Arkansas. They don't have a place for us to go. So if we in a situation where we with our wife and, the financial abuse is taking place, where are you supposed to go? You can't call the police, because they're going to assume it's you automatically when they come in. So, where is your safe haven? That's something that has to be looked at, and when you bring up the mental aspect of it and you saying, how do men deal with it mentally? We told a man up, deal with it, be a man. That's what society shouts out to us. If you saying something, if you complain about how your woman acting, you being a punk, or your homeboy tell you, put your hands back on her, knock her out. You getting all these different point of views. And then you, like he said, like Brother Troy said, you got the women that's laughing at you. If they not laughing at you, they feeling sorry for you. They feeling like you inadequate, like you less of a man. It's nothing like being a man and being abused. You know how inadequate you feel, how weak you feel, how, and all the other derogatory words that come along with it from not just men, but from other women. All that's on that pressure is on your back. So mentally, you trying to deal with it, and then you, with that coming along, you thinking about suicide.
Yeah.
You thinking about, how are you going to get out of this way? You thinking, do I call the police? Being a black male in America dealing with domestic violence, you got to deal about the stigma. You're a black man, and is they going to take you out? Do you snitch? Are you a narc? All these other things that you're dealing with, you don't really know what direction to take, how to get out of that situation. So your mental capacity is just all over the place. And it starts to go into the dream. I don't know about Brother Troy, but I had dreams out the yin yang.
Yeah.
I mean, I had dream. I wake up swinging in the middle of the night. I saw spirits around the bed.
Yeah.
And the only thing that got me to wake up, I remember grandma back in the day saying, say Jesus, and they got to leave you alone.
That's right.
Because they were standing around the bed, and I seen all different forms. Stuff that scared me to death, I seen it in real life. And all I can say is Jesus, I can wake up. Because I'm in some kind of paralysis. I can't get up out of it. But them demons and spirits that she had around her that was still inhabiting me and my mindset, they was coming to me. I can't even have peace in my sleep.
Yeah.
So
come on now. Come on.
You just have to make it a safe haven for men and give men a place to be able to say what they feel. Let them know it's okay to speak, to have feelings, to, even though you're a man, you can still have emotion. Because we ain't supposed to have emotion. We just supposed to be hard all the time. We ain't hard all the time. Shoot, I was crying last night thinking about my daddy and mama. So we cry too. You got to get that stuff out. You got to get it out on the tape.
But you know what, Tommy?
This man on fire.
Something you said is so important. One is that if a man is in an abusive relationship and another man is not, he has no idea what you're going through. So of course he's gonna say, man up, stop being a punk, this and that. But a lot of men, when my oldest son, and he's one of the ones that was abused, was young, my ex-husband used to make my oldest son and my middle son, who are totally opposites, fight each other to make my older one hard. And I used to tell him, that's not going to make him tough. That's not going to, all you're doing is making him angry. That didn't make him tough, because you know what? He didn't understand what it was to be a man and to raise a son, or he wouldn't done something like that. And just like you said, if a man, when my son had his incident and went to the court, they wanted to arrest him. Now he coming out, he had cuts on him. The girl, his child's mother, did not.
Yep.
But they strictly was ready to throw him under the jail. The jail. So it's hard for them even to say, I'm gonna call the police because I'm trying to defend myself. He kicked the door down because he was trying to get his things, but he didn't put his hands on nobody. And in defending himself, he got cuts and whatever. Let's get him out of here. Let's get it. So do I call? Do I not call? Is they gonna shoot me when they pull up on the scene? Or something like that.
When you talking about,
he got his blood on her. They thinking it's hers, and they ready to slam him on the ground. So your mind goes a lot of different places. Your mind as a man, and I'm saying this from my son's point of view, so I can understand what you all are saying. Your mind, like, okay, what do I do in this instance? Same as they leave the house every day, and I'm praying, my 3 black sons, please return home. If they pull you over, don't say a word. It ain't got nothing to do with you being weak or you a punk or none of that. It's about you living to see the next day.
Right. Evangelist, you say that, but understand, it is ingrained in us. It is ingrained. It is in our DNA to be a provider, to be a protector. You don't get to be a protector without having some level of aggression. It is in our DNA to say that we can't have it. So I got to be a punk, right? It's just that we don't know how to harvest it all the time. Right. Men, you got to hug those little boys. right? Now, I had a stigma that I thought if I hug my son too much and kiss him too much, he's going to grow up to be gay or he's going to grow up to be weak. And he's not. It took the power of the Holy Spirit to change me and understand that just teaches him to be compassionate.
Right.
You're never going to
loving.
tell my son, you better not hit a woman. Right. I'll say no one should put their hands on anyone. But who am I to say you do not need to defend yourself at the point when you think you need to defend yourself? If I'm going to tell you to beat a man, I'm going to tell you to beat a woman, not in the sense of beating your wife to try to get a point across, but you're not a punching bag, nor are they. The whole idea is not to fight, not to get, but am I supposed to tell my son that she got a pan? You walk away from that? Yes, you do. But if you're in the corner, you need to get her off. If you need to get him off. Right. That's just real life, guys, period. Right. You look at these women in the martial arts. I trained, as a matter of fact, MMA is my thing. My wife now is a fighter. I met her fighting when she caught me with an overhand right. It was just sparring, people. It was just sparring. That was it. It was a violent situation. But I know that my wife can defend herself as she should. Right. And so I've never put my hands on a woman, and I don't advocate for it, nor do I advocate for women to put their hands on a man. Exactly. But you have to protect yourself. Right. Emotionally. Yeah. We have to look for those things. You asked a question about mental health. When you don't have anywhere to go and society doesn't readily support you, yeah, you're going to feel crazy. And so, yes, we do need mental health, but finding safe places where you can go to get it and get it consistently and build, it's very few places. I would like to say, I love the fact that Tommy created a program where men can receive that. I thank God that he allowed me to create a program where men can receive that. And that's the beauty of it, that at least now we have two places, it's more than that, guys, but at least we're talking about the two places right here and right now that men can go. Or if you know of a man, please refer him. Yeah. Please refer him. It's up to him to do it, but you have two great organizations here that you can refer men to, and we will help them to deal with that, or at least point them in the right direction. Ultimately, they have to do the work, but at least if they send us, we can give them the outline to do the work.
And I'm glad that you both had gone, and I'm glad that Tommy had actually talked about the psychological aspect of suicide, because a lot of times it's not talked about. You know, a lot of times it's not talked about that 74% of men and 75% of that, about 74%, if not more, of men are being aggressively, psychologically, abused by women. There's about 75% of women in a survey done by the NCBI that 75% in this survey were reported they committed at least one psychologically aggressive. Now, when it says aggressive, it means very harsh, aggressive maltreatment of women. It was 75% of women in the survey reported that they committed at least one psychological aggressive behavior against their partner in one given year. And that was done by Stratford and Sweet in 1992. And when it means psychological maltreatment, it means a very aggressive treatment. And, when it's 75%, that's a very high number. And so when a man is being treated so aggressive, of course, it means that a man can consider, man, I want to get out of this. And the first thing they think of is, I want out. I want so out that I want to take my life. And so many women will say the same thing. I want out. And the first out that they think of is, I want my life gone. I want to take my own life, so much so that they won't consider their children. But we never hear about men doing the same thing. And yes, there's been many men who have done that too. They have taken their lives. And so a lot of times we hear about men committing suicide, but we never hear why. And so we don't understand the why. And many times it could be because they have been psychologically, there could be a psychological aggression to that, or coercion control, or they could have been injured some way, or there could have been a prevalence rate to violence in the home, or some kind of mental issue, or stalking problem, or sexual coercion, or physical aggression. And if that is the case, then we don't seem to understand the physical aspect of it, And so I'm glad that Tommy did go into it. And I'm glad that, you, Troy, had gone into that. You two now have, those issues of being able to say, we have that, that talked about,
Absolutely.
discussion of saying we are now two available, opportunities here for men. Yes. So what I want to do is be able to talk about, is there anything that you guys, before we wrap up and this conversation, because it was such an amazing conversation with both of you, I would like to give you guys a small little opportunity to let us know, is there anything you guys are doing for the rest of October, anything for November or December for any men's activities? Also, we'd love to know about your books. And also, if you could let us know about your websites and where they can find you guys, So, Tommy, if you can let us know, what are you doing for October and November and December? And also any books, or where can they find you?
Well, I do have a couple of speaking events coming up. Since COVID, it's all online now. I used to fly out to the events and speak on the panels. I think I have about 3 coming up. I will post those on my Facebook page. It's under Tommy Dudley II, as well as on my organization page, Pass for Gentlemen, Domestic Violence Overcomers. You can find it on my Instagram as well, Texas T Networks. I put it on LinkedIn. I put it on Snapchat. It's on WhatsApp as well. So wherever you follow me, it's going to be on there. So pretty much I'm trying to speak out for that. Also trying to promote a little bit more of parental alienation and suicide awareness, because I did have a friend who's in a similar situation as me, not able to see his children, and he committed suicide in August. So that is a touchy subject for me. So I'm trying to make sure that women and men know about parental alienation, and that the child is being used as a pawn with the court systems, and against the male or the female, and that is causing a high suicide rate. So that's something I'm definitely talking about, speaking on, as well as my scoliosis awareness for people who are dealing with that issue as well.
Wonderful. That's great. I'm excited about that. And if you send me guys your link, I will be posting that on our Facebook page. Okay. That way everyone can find your websites. And Mr. Troy, let me know, is there anything that you guys are doing in October, November, December? Yes, also, let me know about your book and your website.
So we have a weekly men's support group that I would love for men to become a member. We have 3 different, you can join for free. You can just take the 8-week courses, or you can go ahead and become an annual member. And with that membership, man, we go fishing, we go hiking, we do a lot of different fun activities exclusively for men. We have a Returning the King to His Throne annual event. It's all out for men. It's laid out. It's food. It's music. It's men speakers. It's vendors. You name it. It's always the day before Father's Day. So it's like the biggest party for Father's Day that you can attend. And all we do is celebrate men, speak highly of men. We talk about some of the domestic type things and how to avoid it, but we celebrate men the way men are supposed to be celebrated. And then after that, we go to a 5-day retreat in Denver. So all this comes with your annual membership. 5-day retreat is a spiritual retreat, but we have men, and then we have a rites of passage for men. What? Say it again. A rites of passage for men. So we go through that.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold just 1 minute.
That's right. I said it.
Yeah.
It's a 5-day retreat for men where there's a rites of passage for men. And we prepare for that for our members all year long. So if you want to become a member, if you want to be down with that, because after the membership and even during, all we do is tell you how to get back out there and help. We give you the information. We make sure that we harness that information inside of you so you can go out and help other brothers. So I love the concept of that. I thank the Lord for that. The other thing is that, yes, I do have 3 books. 2 more will be coming out next year. So the first one I did with the evangelist right there, called The Relentless Pursuit. So I'm a co-author in that book. And that my portion in that book leads you, when you read that, you get a little taste of the forbidden journal. Now, that's exclusively my book of what it's like to go through a relationship when it's abusive, but not physical. Right. So you can read that. Then my third book is called Wounds to Wisdom. That book gives you a little sample of the forbidden journal, too, because the forbidden journal, it just got worse after that. And then the other book that's coming out next year is a co-authored book for men. That's right. I said it. A co-authored book for men celebrating healthy relationships. So 12 men that have gone through and have overcome are now in healthy relationships. And the title of that book is, wait for it, Men Are Sexier When They're Transparent. So
I am delivered.
that's what we got going on over here, 108 Organization. You can find us at 108organization.org or go on Facebook and like and follow us at 108 Organization. Yes, I am a speaker. So if you ever need me to speak, I am open to that. Just contact me by any of those, 108organization.org or 108 Organization on Facebook.
Awesome. I'm excited because I did put your link on there. Mr. Tommy, when I get your link, I will make sure to put it on there for you. And I'll make sure to get that link and post it on our Facebook. And I will also get all the information for your events and make sure that I will also put it at Guidance to a Good Heart and all of our other pages. So it was so nice talking to you guys. Listen, it was a conversation. I loved it. Evangelist, wasn't it refreshing?
This was really good.
It was refreshing.
Men were watching, trust me.
It was a lot of men. We got a lot of response. There was a lot of good men that were watching, that were also saying things. I want to make sure that I, get shout outs. Thank you, Sharita, for, all the conversations. Thank you also, Willie Green, for giving us that response that you were also a survivor of domestic violence. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dr. Minerva Diaz. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dr. Charlene Mullins, for telling us this is great for sure. Men have a voice as well dealing with domestic violence. And I appreciate that as well. And I surely love to hear that and love to hear all these comments and love to see a lot of men continue coming in. Mark Perez and all of these other men, Alexandria and Bill Duaz and all of these other men, Gary and everyone. Thank you so much for all of you coming in, Charles and everyone. Thank you so much for continuing to come in and listening to these awesome men. Do not forget to go to their individual websites and just key into them. If you have a question, if you know that you are domestically abused yourself, please go talk to them individually. Go messenger them. I can talk to them. Messenger them. And ask them questions. They love to hear from you, I'm sure, and they would love to talk to you. They love to speak out. If you need to have a speaking engagement, or if you need someone for a speaking engagement, I'm sure they would love to be there as men for that speaking engagement.
Absolutely. And we can tag team and do a speaking engagement, Bonnie. We can tag each other in. Get him, Tommy. Get him, Troy. Get him.
Off the top rope, I'm in there.
Tag team. So again, thank you so much for coming in with Guidance to a Good Heart. And
thank you for having us.
Like I always say, thank you, gentlemen. Like I always say, with Guidance to a Good Heart, you are beautiful. You are lovely. Thank you, Evangelist. Like I always say, you are beautiful and God loves you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.